girls. Welcome to another episode of Tea Time with TT's podcast. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get your comment finger ready, honey. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment, honey, so that you don't miss all of the other interviews that we're going to have coming up and all of the other episodes that we will have coming up. For those who are returning, welcome, welcome, welcome. So this particular episode is going to be, a conversation that I feel like needs to be had, one that has been on my spirit and my mind, very much so. I'm in the process of growing spiritually and researching things and just trying to know what is going on, as I am a spiritual leader, and I know that that's a great responsibility. We're going to talk about a few things today. Like I said before, I want you guys to get that comment finger ready. I want you guys to interact. I will respond, based on what it is that I receive and what comments I receive, because this is a needed conversation, a needed topic, and it's just really a sore spot for a lot of people, right? But here at TT, Tea Time with TT's podcast, honey, we don't shy away from these conversations because they need to be had. Okay, so this particular episode is going to be about religions and spirituality versus spirituality, religion versus spirituality. We're trying to make it make sense, okay? So not only am I asking questions, I want you guys to ask questions as well. We're going to also speak about ATRs, judgment, competition, the lies, the initiations versus non-initiated, judgment, and, from the church and religions and all kinds of things, okay? But we're going to get into it, okay? Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and get your comment finger ready, because we're going to talk about, let's talk. Okay, so first thing I want to speak about is, by definition, religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices usually shared by a community or group, right? Religions such as Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, voodoo, religion, okay, which originated from Haiti, the Haiti slave trade, and was married together with Catholicism about 6,000 or so years ago, right? Yoruba religion, which is a religion, Yoruba religion is a religion, and have other religions that are derived from it, such as Santaria, Umbanda, Trinidad Orisha, Haitian voodoo or voodoo, and Candomblé, to name a few. Okay, to name a few, because there's a lot of religions that have come from Yoruba religion. Okay, all right. So some of the spiritual practices, as a definition, we're going to go with the definition. By definition, spiritual practices are considered more of an individual practice, and it has more to do with having a peace and purpose. Now, by definition, and are such spiritual practices considered by such spiritual practices as a spiritual practice, or an individual by spiritual practices such as Comedicism, Ifa, which is derived from Yoruba religion, but it's a spiritual practice derived from a religion, okay? Hoodoo, derived from Christianity, and ATRs with a little bit of Native American influences in there, paganism, Wicca, and the list goes on, honey, okay? So these are spiritual, what are considered to be spiritual practices. Now, for me, I feel a different kind of way about that, about the definitions. This is by definition. This is why I said it's definition. Because if you are in the spiritual community, or you are in the religious community, or you're in the religious community and you leave from the religious community to the spiritual community, you know that the definition is not, or what it actually is not very far from what it is you were already doing or what you left from, right? So now, with religion being a specific set of specific organized beliefs and practices usually shared by a community or a group, that's the definition. Spirituality is saying that it's just individual, that you don't practice in any groups, you don't have any set practices, which are basically rituals, that you don't have any organized belief, which is farthest from the truth in spirituality, and that is basically just you by yourself, and that is more to do with having peace and a sense of purpose. It sounds nice, okay? It sounds nice, right? And it does have a large, spirituality does have a large amount of searching for peace, searching for purpose, growing, healing, and a lot of things like that. But a lot of these spiritual practices are heavily connected to a set of organized beliefs and practices, very close to religion. And it is usually done in groups or communities. There's a whole community, Yoruba land, you know, it's a whole community. Ife, I believe it's called. Don't quote me on this, because listen, I'm still, like I said, these are things that I looked up. I usually mind my business. But as far as this is concerned, I'm just like, I want to go over these and just try to get your input. So my spiritual people, do you feel like, by definition, we're not going to say about like what it is that you, not even definition, by what it is that you've experienced, are the definitions correct as far as what spirituality is and what religion is? And do you feel like it's a space, such a large space in between them that everybody tries to put? Like, do you think it's so many differences? Okay, so with that being said, Cometicism, Ifa, hoodoo, paganism, and Wicca all have rituals, have set belief systems, and are usually carried out with a group of people, although it is very largely individual. It's an individual walk, an individual journey, spiritual people believe, you know, but it does not mean that you can't, you know, fellowship, as the church people would call it, or maybe, you know, things like that. So do you guys feel like that definition is like a blanket statement, or like if you feel like they're just wanting to make it sound different so that people don't go to spirituality? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, I want you guys to comment down below, because I really, really want to know the answer to that for you guys. Okay. Before we move forward, I also want to let you guys know, okay, y'all listening, that voodoo is not hoodoo. Voodoo is not hoodoo. So if there's any older people, you know, y'all already know, your ancestors or your grandmama, your mama, your daddy, your granddaddy, your uncle, your great uncle gonna call hoodoo voodoo. They'd be like, that hoodoo voodoo. Especially if you're from the South, they mix them both together. And they are not the same things. Voodoo is a religion. Yes, it originated from the slave trade in Haiti. The people that were forced to become slaves, and you know, and things like that, they married it with Catholicism. They put the Orisha with the saints and things like that. Same thing would go for probably Santaria and things like that as well. Hoodoo has that same energy. Okay, so hoodoo is for African Americans who have come over from the slave trade, right? That have come over from the slave trade and that have married together Christianity, the same, you know, the angels and the books in the Bible and the Orisha and, you know, all of the moon magic and the stars and things like that are married into Christianity, right? With hoodoo practices, herbs and prayers and blessed oil. And, you know, if you grew up in culture like I did, because I'm Pentecostal, I was Pentecostal, excuse me guys, because I don't identify with any religions anymore. However, I do definitely, I'm very, very spiritual. I have a lot of spiritual practices. So when I was in Church of God in Christ, when I was in, you know, a Pentecostal religion, I realized very early on in my life that it was very heavily conjuring spirits, praying, you know, to spirit and calling God's spirit into the room and using blessed oil and anointing everything with it and laying on your money for expansion. You know, all of this stuff is part of hoodoo. So it has been married with Christianity. A lot of the Native American practices, spiritual practices, are now also in that. And the reason why I want to tell you guys that difference is because I want everybody's religious practices and beliefs to be respected for that which they are. Hoodoo is a spiritual practice that came from the slave trade. Voodoo is a religion that came from the slave trade, okay? Voodoo is considered about 6,000 years old from what I'm looking up. Like I said, we're looking this up to see what it is that we're seeing when we go Google stuff. Everybody talking about Google University, and you can get all the information from Google and all of that. So upon my time frame of looking that up, I was like, I want to see what's the oldest religion and the oldest spiritual practice, right? That's what I want to see. Because, you know, everybody feel, my grandmother, when she was alive, used to say, you know, she asked me, well, how do you feel about all these different religions? Like, what do you feel about all these different religions? Like, do you feel one religion is better than the other, or just that and the third? And I would be like, I don't know, grandma. And she'd be like, you want to know what I feel? I said, okay. She said, all religions are right and wrong at the same time. I said, what? She was like, because no one religion has to be there. To the Christian, Buddhism is wrong. To the Buddhist, Judaism is wrong. To the Islamist, Hinduism is a wrong practice for them. So everybody feels like their religion is that religion, the original religion, the religion that they were supposed to be in. So that's for that she's saying they are all wrong for judging the other person, right? But they were right because everybody is searching for Christ consciousness. Everybody is searching for the face of God, their God, whatever that may be. Now, granted, the face of Christianity's God is up, and everybody else's God looks like them, but we ain't even gonna get into that at this moment. But when that's always stuck with me when she said that, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Because the thing that you believe in, you tend to think is the rightest, you know, most pure thing on the planet. So, you know, child, you know me, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look it up. So basically, when you type in the oldest religion, it says Hinduism was created between 1500 BC and 2300 BC. BC meaning before Christ, okay? Before Christ. Back when J's did not exist. That's what it says. That says Hinduism is the oldest religion. Okay? Rock with me here. Christianity is a little bit above 2,000 years old. Ooh. Y'all hear that? That's what it says. In other news, when I've looked it up, it said that Christianity was somewhere around 6,000 years old. But either way, it would be the baby of the bunch. No shade, there's nothing wrong with you being Christian and all that. Nobody's saying, oh, it's only this amount of age old, you don't have to believe in that, because belief is what is going to manifest in your life. So if you believe that calling on Jesus is going to work it out, it does, honey. If you believe that, you know, you Rastafari and you want to, you know, you believe in Ra or you Kushite or whatever, then that's what it is for you, boo. But I'm just giving you what it is that I'm finding when I'm looking it up, right? Now, what is the oldest spiritual practice? First, I got Nubia. Didn't really give me too much of a time frame for that. No, it wasn't Nubia, excuse me, it's Kushite. Kushite, I got a time frame. Nubia, I didn't get very much. I think it said 6,000, but again, spiritual practices are not accurate as far as the age, because they act like they discovered us and we've been here. But from what the research has shown, for the people that like to tear apart pyramids and you know, release curses upon people because y'all don't know how to mind y'all damn business. So as far as the information is concerned, Kushites began in 1070 BCE. Y'all heard that? 1070 BCE. Meaning that Kushite was before all religions. Kushite is an ancient Egyptian spiritual system, right? That later turns into Kemet, which Kemet is recorded 4,500 BC, before Christ again. Okay. Now, in between that, they're saying that Nubia is about 6,000 years old. Bull. I know it's bull, but that's what we're getting when we're looking up these things. So if every religion is a spiritual practice, this is the question I got for you guys. If every religion is a spiritual practice, how can one say that Hinduism is the oldest religion if spiritual practices such as Kushite had rituals that were done religiously and are now the basis of all religion? Ask yourself that. I'm gonna say it again. If every religion is a spiritual practice, right, with a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, aka rituals, usually shared by a group or community, and Kushite is a spiritual practice that had organized beliefs and practices, usually shared by a whole community and groups. How is it the religion of Hinduism came before the spiritual practices of Kushite? And even more than that, guys. So I want y'all to comment down below how you feel about it. I'm just saying, because this is the facts as interpreted by people who have, because y'all don't know, it's way before that, okay? Because I even went and did a DNA test, and I have some ancient Egyptian DNA in my system, right? That was, okay, way back there. Mind you, back in ancient Egypt, in Africa, there was this clock, this Western clock time frame that we have did not exist there. So they're saying approximately, as far as time is concerned, this is when this was going on, but there's no real way to know that, right? So moreover, if this is the way that these are happening, because spirituality is when you do things individually to grow yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, in a ritualistic way, right? In an organized way, because hoodoo has a certain set of ways that you should do things, days that you should do things, candle colors that go with it, planets that go with it, moon, stars, crystals, and all of that is in the Bible as well. So if this now was done religiously, whenever you do something, and it's always the same way, and it's a ritual, and you do that ritual every full moon, every new moon, that is a religious manner. You're doing it in a religious manner. So if that is the case, if spirituality is someone doing things in a spiritual manner and doing a set of rituals and beliefs religiously, okay, religiously, why is it that we have religious people arguing with spiritual people about their practices when it all came from spirituality, instead of loving and respecting each other for who it is that we are, what it is that we believe, and respecting each other's differences? Because no person, we all came from the same space. And you've always seen, we've seen these articles where they said that, the first person in general has come from one woman in Africa. One woman in Africa. If we all came from the same place, the DNA all came from the same womb. And some of y'all gonna be mad, if you're a racist person and you're gonna be mad or whatever, you're gonna comment, you do it at your own risk over here. My block finger's strong. All you gotta do is look it up. So if you're gonna write something under my stuff, please prove it. Please put a link to an article or something, because I'm not here to argue with nobody. I am here to make you guys think, to make you guys really look into what it is that you're practicing or what it is that you're doing. If that's something that you continue to do, that's fine and it's respected, but also make sure you do your research. So nobody could come tell you, how you in a relationship and you got a little boo and you tell them, as long as you tell me before somebody else tell me, I'm good, right? Make sure that can't nobody tell me nothing about you that I don't already know. That needs to be the same with your religious or spiritual practices, boo. If you're going to practice it, research it, whether it's religion or spirituality. Where did it come from? How did it derive? How old is it? Where did it grow? Like, you need to know that. What does this scripture mean? What is this deity about? What days of the week should I do this? And like, please do yourself a service. That way, can't nobody tell you nothing about your spiritual practice that you do not already know. Nobody could tell you about your religious practice that you do not already know. There's no need to argue about something that you already know. But I'm just getting sick of looking at it. Where did hoodoo derive from? It's a lot of people around here doing it and not even looking into the fact that it was started by African Americans only. It is a closed practice to those who were a part of the slave trade, which is why you have a lot of people saying that it's a closed practice, and people are taking it as if they're saying they're not allowed to practice it. Nobody's saying you're not allowed to practice it. It is a closed practice. Now, you can get some work done by a person that is a hoodoo, a non-Black person can get some work done by somebody that's a hoodoo person, or maybe if they were brought into it by somebody who was a hoodoo person, a Black person that was doing hoodoo, and they were taught the ways of that. Absolutely. There are exceptions, I believe. Not everybody believes that way. But when you're calling on ancestors, please understand, if you're not African American, you're not from an African standpoint, you are not calling on your ancestors are slave owners. Your ancestors may be somebody that has done the people that you're learning and practicing the spiritual practice from some harm. You know, and granted, you didn't do it, but these are still your ancestors. We are our ancestors, all of us. So it's kind of a disrespect. And that's why people, it's not that people are angry or racist or hating on you because, you know, you're not of African descent, or, you know, it's not that. It's just letting you know where it derived from, the pain and the anger and the anguish, you know, that was caused, and the way that they had to hide themselves or hide their African spiritual practices and hide who they were, and the fact that they were a healer, because they would be killed. You should respect that much to be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to practice something else. Maybe I'm Irish. I'm going to look into Celtic magic, or, you know, maybe I just want to do just regular witchery. Maybe I'll just go into Wicca, or maybe I'll just be a pagan. You know, I'll respect the fact that it would be a closed practice. That would be the ideal thing to do. Christians want to be respected, Buddhists, and for the most part, they are. You know, you have a lot of African Americans now speaking out against Christianity because of the way that it started, the way that the Bible was written during slavery and used to manipulate people of color. So I get that whole thing is a very sore spot. But like, I need you guys to answer those questions for me. How is it? I don't feel like there's any difference between spirituality and religion. You're doing religion first and spirituality second in religion. And you're doing spirituality first and religion second in spirituality. Because you have to do, in order for you to manifest the things that you want in spirituality, you have to do that religiously. You understand? So I just want to have that conversation with you guys. I really, really feel like that's a conversation to be had. So now we're just gonna get into the ratcheticity of it all. Yeah, that's the word, ratcheticity, honey. Hold on, let me. Now, as I said before, why is it, if there are so many similarities, why is it that we as a people cannot see the commonalities between religion and spiritual practices and allow each other to be who they are without browbeating each other? We are here to give facts, right? Teachers should be giving facts, or giving you the opportunity to freely think, because even in spirituality, we believe that we are born with free will. So not just religion, although religion tries to take your free will, but tells you you have it. Why are we in that space, right? What is the judgment? Why is the judgment necessary? You know, what is it? How will judgment from someone who is religious of a spiritual person, would that make you more godlike? Is that making you more godlike? I'll wait. You condemning somebody to hell is also a sin, because in the Bible, like I said, I grew up in church. You are not to ever condemn anybody to hell, because you're then condemning yourself. It does the exact opposite of what it is you're trying to accomplish. You're judging someone. You're doing things that are not Christian-like. I really very rarely hear a Buddhist tell a spiritual person that they're wrong. I very rarely hear a Jew. They might say that they're the true religion and stuff like that, but for the most part, they don't be on here like that. I'm gonna just tell y'all, Islamic people, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the whole type of hot steppers might be, you know, a little bit, little aggressive, but you know, for the most part, you know, I don't see no voodoo person going to no Christian person like, oh, you know, I have been seeing an influx of them talking smack, but not to the point where they trolling people's stuff and commenting. I don't see that. Like, we stay in our lane, we stay to ourselves, whatever it is that we decide to practice. We give you information if asked, we give you information if as needed, and we allow the space for the conversations to be had. And that's what we do here on Tea Time with TiTi's podcast. We're going to be committed to, you know, women and us finding our commonalities in our spiritual growth and abundance, right? Our health, our happiness, astrology, whatever it is that Spirit has laid on my heart to give you the option to learn about. We're not coming from a space here of competition and things like that as well. So in church, you know, I know y'all grew up in, if y'all grew up in church, comment down below. You know, it was a very, very, very present competition that was happening out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? In church, you would be at church and somebody, this person had to outdress that person. This church mother had to have the best hair, the best hat, the best nails, the best this, you know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to be looked at, and they was always competing for the affections of the pastor and a whole bunch of buffoonery that had nothing to do with church, right? Now, and I don't know if this has always been this way, I'm out openly practicing my spiritual practices for 5 years now. Now, don't get it twisted. Like I said, I'm Pentecostal. I done been writing petitions, prayers, putting it in my Bible scripture. I done been, you know, returning the sender and cleansing it and casting things out of my home. I've been doing all of this. I've been, you know, consecrating my space before I move any furniture in, honey. I've been putting up protections and praying, you know, praying on people to tell them to leave me the hell alone. Okay. And it's been working. It's always worked my entire life. Do you hear me? So it's not to say that I have not always been practicing this. I left church at 17 because I felt like my relationship with the Creator was just mine. So I don't know if that is my spirit, me going to spirituality and not really knowing what to call it. Because I was like, no, I'm the church. That's where I was at. Okay. So I don't know if this is, I'm just now coming into the spiritual community where I'm amongst other people, like-minded individuals, and I've seen a lot of the similarities as far as church is concerned. There's a lot of spiritual people arguing over ATRs and who's the strongest and what people should do, and you know, a lot of competition, a lot of unspoken competition, but you can tell that that person is competing with somebody and the other person not even think about their ass. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of lies, a lot of people that are fakes and phonies, and you still need to have discernment, even if you want to just use intuition instead of discernment because you don't go to church no more. But you still need to have discernment as far as who you're going to connect your energy to. Then you got people talking about initiations, honey. Now tell me, is this not the same thing as church? Because you could see somebody that got spiritual gifts, and because they were not initiated or ordained as a pastor or a bishop or a prophet or prophetess, people then look down their nose at them like, girl, who told you you was that? You're not ordained. And now you got people, hey, you're not initiated. Who told you you was that? It's all the same. And everybody need to get their life together, period. Period. Everybody really need to get their life together, because this is ridiculous at this point. What's it to you if they're initiated? Matter of fact, did our ancestors initiate people, or did they do a a rite of passage? Did they initiate people? Because I don't think they did. I think they took the ones that they saw were seers and groomed them and raised that child up as they would want them to go. See, they still did that in spirituality. You know, when they realized they had a gift, they groomed them so that they would be in a place of receivership as far as their gifts are concerned. So why, why is it so hard to believe that somebody could be gifted, or the Orisha could favor somebody, or you know what I'm saying, or somebody could have prophetic dreams and things like that as far as the church is concerned, and be gifted to be a healer and stuff like that, when the ancestors wasn't sitting there like, okay, pay me $10,000 and I'm gonna make sure you initiate it, and then that means that you have the right to go around here judging every fucking body, and only you could go and read people, only you could go and do work for people, only you could go and do all of this to be effective. You have to be initiated just for you to be effective. No, that is a system that has been placed upon the spiritual practice by the individuals that were practicing it. And that's okay. And it's a great way to make sure that the elders are able to go and speak with them and things like that, and to get that rite of passage out there. But by no means do I feel, y'all comment down below and let me know, that every single person has to be a certain kind of initiated. Now, it's great if they feel that they need to be, if they're going to be out there and be practicing in a space where they're like putting, giving people their Orisha heads and all of that stuff all willy-nilly. No, I'm not saying disrespect the culture like that, okay? But I'm just saying, as far as somebody, if they are going to work with Orisha because they are considered ancestors to your ancestors and parts of the elements of the earth, wind, fire, water, you understand? Just because of that, you should be able to work with Orishas. You don't have to just go get initiated to do so. Now, if you're going to be practicing and want to do the rite of passage, that's what initiation is, a rite of passage to be a priestess or a babalawo or whatever it is you want to call them, or Ayanifo, whatever you want to call based on your specific spiritual practice. The rites of passage, even in church as a pastor or a prophetess, yes, you're going to have to go through training because it would probably be beneficial to you regardless. However, it is not necessary to be initiated to communicate with or work with Orisha. There are some devotees that are not initiated that still are able to work with Orisha. Now, you don't want to be, if you're not crowned and stuff like that, that's fine. But please stop letting people make you feel like you're not gifted because you're not initiated. I wish people would stop competing with each other and arguing with each other. Whether or not they're initiated is of no concern to you. Because again, they would, if they're going to get in trouble by the spirits for doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, you're not going to be affected by them not doing right. They're going to have to answer to that. So mind your business. Same thing with people at church. Just because they're seer don't mean they got to go and get, groomed to be a damn prophet or a prophetess. Maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they want to operate in their gifts outside of church like I am. Leave them alone. Mind your damn business. The person's salvation or their growth or their spiritual protection and love is not of anyone's concern but that particular person. And I just want to see more people do that. Like, what is it that will stop people from being more concerned? Like, we got bigger fish to fry. Have y'all seen our president, Willy Wonka looking ass, walking around here doing all kinds of fuckery, and y'all arguing about this nonsense? Have you seen all of this crazy stuff going on with these people harming children? And like, why is this even a thing? I still see people trolling. I still see people arguing. I still see people judging people. Like, if the person got proof that their shit is effective, that their growth, that their products are effective, and that their readings are effective, and they got reviews, hush. You talking down on somebody else, again, whenever you condemn somebody to hell, whenever you speak ill of someone, that is coming back to you. You're doing it to yourself. The only thing that it's doing, because it's unjustified, is putting you in the position to have to then answer to that. So the rest of 2022, can we please only answer to shit that we did or don't do? How about that? Can we do that? Huh? Can we? Because it's just ridiculous at this point. Whether you practice a religion or a spiritual practice, I love you. Whether you practice that, try to find the commonality in all of it. As long as you guys are seeking the face of the Creator or the Christ consciousness, or just to be a better person, that is all that matters. Learn not to take people in their hangups and the way that they feel about themselves so personal, because at the end of the day, if somebody's upset that you're not initiated and they spent that money to get initiated. What you pissed for? Why you want me to go spend $7 million to get initiated to work with Orisha, because I'm not going to be working with other people? Why are you in your feelings, sis? And you don't know who that person is. Like, there's a lot of people that be out here calling hoodoo workers non-hoodoo. There was no initiation for hoodoo. You were taught hoodoo. A lot of times you were taught hoodoo without knowing that you was being taught hoodoo. Hoodoo is who the fuck you are, right? You automatically are that. If your ancestors taught you some spells or some things to do to protect yourself, it was born out of necessity. I need to protect myself. I need to make sure my family can eat. My husband needs to come back. He is a breadwinner in this family. This hussy needs to stop trying to get my husband. That hoe need to go. This negative person or this rapist or this, they need to get up out of here. Let me do this. These demons that's running out in here need to be cast out. Let me get them up out of here. It's a need. It's just who you are. So stop trying to tell people who do and who not. You don't know who they grew up with. You don't know the power in their lineage, in their bloodline. And a lot of times spirit and the Creator will hide the power of this person's lineage, because there's some hungry ass spirits around here, hungry souls that want to see good people or powerful people be harmed. And they're not going for it. Come on, somebody. So just because you can't see them don't mean it ain't that their power not there. You can't see the power. They are cloaked. They are covered because they are needed. And when they do so, their ancestors or their spirit team is going to make sure they are in full capacity, full power capacity to whoop some spirit's ass if they need to. But if you and your judgmental ass want to see it, child, bye. If you're not using your discernment for good, and you just got a jealous spirit or a negative spirit or a spirit that just wants to judge people and make it seem like you the hottest thing on the block, you're going to start losing that vision, boo. You're not going to be able to see the gifted. You're not going to be able to, because you are removing your covering by talking down about somebody that the Creator has ordained to be in whatever position that they need to be in. Y'all be thinking people throwing stuff back at you. No, honey. You threw it and it never hit. That shit threw back at you. Boomerang. So this is why people need to worry about their own spiritual growth, abundance, their religion, their spiritual practices. See the commonality, respect the commonality, respect the differences. And then just do you, boo. Whatever way you decide to, or that you're assigned to seek the face of the Creator in this life, is the way that you're going to seek it. And that's it. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Like I said, comment, let me know your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know where you're feeling, if you're feeling this comment. Matter of fact, rep your religious or spiritual practice, because it's all love over here. Okay. Happy Pride Month to my LGBT fam. And I'll see you guys soon. Okay. Peace.